Okay. All right, guys. Welcome back to the CP. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. If my voice sounds a little bit different than usual, because I'm missing over a cold, but all good now. But today I'm really excited to be back with another interview. Real Kyle, because we are still somewhat in a pandemic. So today I have with oh yeah, I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong. Ariel.
That's perfect.
With Ariel, and we are going to be talking about adaptive craft in the University of Illinois. So if that's something you want to hear about, turn on your subtitles, make this video, and if you're new, hail it if you know someone who benefits from this video, and leave a comment down below. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So, hi, my name is Ariel. I am 27 years old right now, and I went to the University of Illinois in the fall of 2012. I started my freshman year, and then I graduated in 2016. And then I stuck around in Champaign, Illinois until right about mid-pandemic 2020, so in July. So I stayed 4 extra years to do wheelchair racing, which is what I love and my favorite sport and hobby.
Wow, that's amazing. I saw a video that actually sent me of somebody doing wheelchair racing.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's so much fun. It's such a fun sport, and I'm really happy that I found it when I was growing up.
Nice. Hello. I know you have my excuse me. My first question is, I know you have a final one injury. Do you want to explain your journey with that?
Sure. So I got a spinal cord injury when I was 10 years old from a car accident in Orlando, Florida. And I think since I was still pretty young, since I was 10, I kind of bounced back pretty quick. So, I mean, I was injured on Thanksgiving Day and I was back in school by January 5th. So it was a pretty sharp recovery. But what I really appreciate is that my parents always had the same high expectations of me, both before and after my accident. So I think that really helped me to accomplish the things that I've accomplished and set goals for myself. And so I've had a disability now for 17 years. And it took probably a few years to get used to it. And I would say I wasn't totally comfortable with my disability until college, because at the University of Illinois, there's so many people with disabilities that go there. I was really able to embrace my community and learn from everyone there. And they, taught me everything from like wheelchair skills, just like how to do wheelies better, how to get up curbs, how to get a wheelchair that fits you properly, like those kind of things. But then also just how to be disabled and live in a society that doesn't always adapt and accommodate you. And so I really love the university and all the things that I learned there from my friends and teammates and coaches and mentors. It was a great experience.
Awesome. Yeah, I do agree with you about holding you to the same high expectations as everybody else, because people don't think about that. There are a lot of people that walk around you, and if you can't do something, they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it," and you're like, but I could do that.
Yeah.
If you would push me to do that.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I feel the same way. And I think like all the things that people think that we can't do as people with disabilities, we actually can do them if the right, accommodations and adaptations are in place. So
Yeah.
It's just about, universal design and making everything accessible for everyone. And that's something I'm really passionate about and I talk about a lot because,
Me too.
yeah, the more independent like someone can be, or not even independent, but the more that people can do things on their own, I think the better.
Yeah, I'm in the middle from one of my YouTube videos or multiple. I'm gonna travel around the St. Louis area and rate attract and based on ability.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely needed. I look all online all the time for whether things are accessible or not, and it's definitely getting better, but it's still really hard to find that information many times.
I agree. I know you're wait. I know you're wait. I know you're hold on. I know you're often I know you hear often hear about people becoming power athletes and you're no exception. I know you ran track from the University of Illinois. Do you want to talk about your track experience?
Sure. Yeah. So I got introduced to wheelchair racing when I was about 14. So I was doing 5Ks with my dad in my everyday chair, just pushing in my everyday chair right next to him. And then that was in middle school. And then in 8th grade, we went to Disney to do a 10K together. And me and my dad, we ran the race and I just pushed in my everyday chair. And then at the end of the race, a woman came up to me and asked me, why don't I have a racing wheelchair? Why am I using my day chair? And I was like, what's a racing wheelchair? I had no idea because I had, never heard of the Paralympics. I had never seen anyone in my community that was disabled and used any kind of adaptive sport equipment. I just had no idea it was out there. And this was back in like 2009, I think, or 2008 maybe. And so she introduced me to the world of wheelchair racing, and she actually had she worked with or worked for, I forget, the Challenged Athlete Foundation. So she taught me how to apply for a grant at the Challenged Athlete Foundation so I could try and get my first racing chair. So that's what I did. And then in 8th grade, at the end of 8th grade, I got my very first racing chair, and that was just an amazing experience, and I loved it because I was automatically faster and they were really cool and I could keep up with my friends. So I really loved it. And then I wanted to be on the track team in high school, but actually the state of Florida said no, I can't be on my high school's track team because I have a disability. Yeah, and that was really hard. So freshman year I practiced with the team, but I wasn't allowed to race at all. But then my mom was really influential and contacted people at the high school athletic department for the state. And we had to start a petition and go on the radio and get people to know about our cause and the petition. And then we were able to get high school adaptive track added to the list of sports for high schools. So my sophomore year was the first time I could compete, and the events they gave us were the 200 meter, the 800 meter, and shot put. So that was really awesome. So then I was happy that I could earn points for my team, and I still wasn't allowed to race alongside the other runners. And some states let you do that, and I think that's a better model. So I was just pushing by myself.
Yeah. Yes. I agree that being with your able-bodied peer and whatever is way better than being excluded in any way. Because I know I had a friend who I have cerebral palsy, and I have another friend who has cerebral palsy, and we both use walkers. And I know her name is Ida, and she ran track on our high school track team.
Yeah. So what's really great is it was made a federal law, I think, in 2014. So now all high schools across the country have to include adaptive athletes into their regular team. So that was really amazing. I remember when I heard that, I was in college already, but I was so happy because that means that, other kids wouldn't have to fight as hard to get on the team.
Right. I definitely agree because another example that I we had a Japanese adaptive cheerleading team.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And I'm thinking, why didn't that team be part of the actual cheerleading team?
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, it should be fully integrated. I definitely think fully integrated is best. I mean, for like sports like wheelchair basketball, obviously you can't easily integrate that.
Right.
But wheelchair basketball is so fun, and they, as long as you have enough people to make a team, then
Right.
that's great. Yeah. And so, yeah, so then I did track, and I really loved it. And then maybe my junior year of high school, I went to a race in Florida. It's called the Gasparilla Distance Classic, and it's a 15K. And it used to be a really big race for, like, it was known for their wheelchair division. So actually they had prize money and everything. So people from all around the country who used chairs would come and do this race. And so that's where I met my coach for the first time, and saw the University of Illinois team members in their uniforms and racing. And I remember thinking that was so cool, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I went up to my coach, or he wasn't my coach yet, but I went up to Adam Blakeney, and I asked him, what do I need to do in order to be on the track team at his school? And he just told me, because I was really slow, and he told me that if I got into the university academically, that I would be allowed to train with the team there at Illinois. So
amazing.
I thought that was amazing and awesome. And so I made sure to keep my grades up and work hard in school so I could get accepted into Illinois. And then I did my senior year of high school. And then, that's how I ended up at Illinois. I went there pretty much solely for wheelchair racing. I got a business degree, but I mean, my main focus was wheelchair racing.
Wow. And I know right now, we're not there yet, but I joining up. I know right now you do adaptive racing for people in wheelchairs.
Yeah. So I actually didn't think I would use my business degree. I just wasn't sure what to study, and I just kind of picked business because it was so broad. But it actually did give me some groundwork to help create my first business, which was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, creating a brand and business is really cool. I have to admit, I have a lot of fun doing it as well.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to know what you want to do.
Yep. Do you, if you work on a team, your holiday period would be any different as far as students?
Well, yeah, probably. So I went, it was really hard for me at first to leave Florida, because all my family's here and all my friends were going to Florida schools. But I knew that the other good thing besides track at the University of Illinois was I knew they have a really strong legacy of accessibility. So I was pretty sure I wouldn't have to fight for accessibility, because a lot of the Florida schools I looked at, I mean, like, some of them did have somewhat accessible campuses, but a lot of them didn't have accessible campuses. And even if the campus was fairly accessible, I had no idea, what the classrooms were going to be like inside, or I was pretty sure then I wouldn't have a community of disabled people. I would be one of the only, which is what I was used to growing up. And I think I was really excited to meet other people with disabilities, because I really hadn't done that yet. And so I think if I wouldn't have done a sport, I wouldn't have gone to Illinois. I would have stayed in Florida for sure. And then I think I would have maybe struggled with inclusion definitely there. But if I was at Illinois and wasn't playing a sport, Illinois, I have a lot of friends at Illinois that have disabilities that didn't play sports, and I think they had a really positive experience there. And I think they really felt like the administration cared about inclusion, and that maybe the campus as a whole was more accepting and more aware of disability culture and disability inclusion. So I think I would have felt very included at Illinois, but I'm not sure how I would have felt at a different college that doesn't have that history.
Definitely, because my friend was telling me that they have a whole dorm for disability for people with disabilities. And
Mhm.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people don't have that.
exactly.
They have disability services, but that's all
Mhm.
they have.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew how many opportunities they offered at Illinois, and it was just so appealing that I wouldn't have to explain what I needed or explain, like they just get it, they just know. And I think
Right,
that was really cool.
right. My next question is, I know one about the University of Illinois is putting into disability housing members and accommodation. What is your opinion? We had already talked about that, and we can move on to the next one. What is your biggest piece of advice who are inspiring adaptive power athletes?
That's a hard one. What is my biggest piece of advice? Um, I mean, everyone's going to say this, but balance is really hard. It was super hard to try and balance classes with making friends, with athletics, because I mean, I would train 6 days a week at Illinois, and probably my first couple years, I only trained once a day, but by my junior or senior year, I was training twice a day. So trying to go to practice 2 times a day and go to classes and have a social life is really, really
Wow.
tricky. So, I mean, I definitely struggled 1 or 2 semesters with trying to get everything done. But I would just say, like, scheduling actually, just if you can kind of write out your day and say from 8 to 10 I'm here, and 9 and then 10 to 11 I'm doing this, and that way you can schedule time for assignments, schedule time for homework. And it took me a while to learn that, because I used to, my first couple years, pull all-nighters because I would just spend too much time with friends and too much time after practice hanging out. And so I think, yeah, for people who are in it already, you got to really schedule your time if you want to be a student athlete. And then if you're still in high school and you're thinking about going to college for a sport, I would definitely say it's scary, and a lot of times you have to move far from home because there aren't that many colleges that have adaptive sports. But I think for me it was really worth it, and I learned a whole bunch, and it was a great experience. So I would say be brave. I think that would be my piece of
Yeah,
advice.
definitely. And organizing is definitely key to your whole entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Without organizing, you're gonna miss nowhere. I
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, even more when you have a disability.
Oh yeah, because yeah, then you have your care activities you have to take care of for your own health as well.
Right. Mhm. And
Mm-hmm.
then also people coming in and out too. To help
Mm-hmm.
you.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super important, and it definitely, but you have to, forgive yourself if you don't do it perfect, because I definitely made a whole bunch of mistakes my first few years trying to figure out life on my own at school. And so
Yeah.
you just got to be gentle with yourself, but also, just keep trying and figure out
Right.
what works best for you.
Right. And my math lesson is not only are you a power athlete, but you are also a small business owner for adaptive racing. Do you want to explain your inspiration and and mission for it?
Sure. So, my junior year of high school, or not of high school, of undergrad, I took this class, and it was called Making Things, and it was all about 3D printing. And I had no experience in printing or engineering or even like any kind of software design programs. But I thought the class sounded really fun. I needed an elective, so I took it, and it was really awesome. And one of our assignments was to bring in something to 3D scan. So my coach told me that I should try and scan a wheelchair racing glove, because gloves that we used to make were really, really custom, and they kind of were made similar way to like the way that you would make a brace or a prosthetic, or like orthotics. And so you would just like melt a whole bunch of plastic and mold it around your hand or your body, and then shape it to kind of help you propel your racing chair in the most efficient way per your disability. So people have different hand shapes and sizes, and people have also different disabilities that affect how they push their racing chair. So the gloves were super custom, but the problem was, like, once the glove broke, you could never recreate it. You would never get that perfect
Right.
glove again. And so with 3D scanning, you're able, my coach's idea we would be able to scan people's gloves, and then we could just replicate them and print out as many copies as we needed. So in case something broke, it would be replaceable. And so we scanned some gloves, and I didn't expect it to work at all, but it actually worked really well, the first pair that we 3D printed. And it also turned out to be, with 3D printing, you can affect the internal structure of things. You can like change the different patterns of infill. And so we were able to make the glove a lot lighter, which is good for performance, because then you're going to put less strain on your body during your whole 5-stroke process of pushing your chair. And so the gloves were lighter and they were replicable. And so I started making a bunch of pairs for myself, and then my teammates were like, hey, I want that too. Can you make me some gloves? So then I would start making gloves for all my teammates, and then we'd go to races and people were like, oh, your gloves are really cool. Can you make me a pair? And then it got to the point where I was doing so many hours of glove making a day that I was like, okay, I think I'm going to have to start charging for gloves now instead of just doing it for free for everyone, because I was spending so many hours doing that. And so on top of training and on top of school and everything. So then right before I graduated, I founded Ingenium, which is my company today. And we make 3D printed wheelchair racing gloves. So we have a couple different styles. We have a whole bunch of different colors. And we've shipped to over 30 countries worldwide. So that's really cool. We have an online store, so a lot of people purchase our gloves there. But also like our company got pretty popular by word of mouth. And so just, going and traveling to different races around the world and talking to people and meeting them. And so then we had the first 3D printed wheelchair racing glove, and now that's the company. And it's currently run, so I'm in grad school right now, so I'm not doing the manufacturing side. But it's currently operating out of Ocala, Florida, by one of my teammates, and he's doing a phenomenal job. And it's just really, really exciting to watch it grow and develop, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go from here.
Amazing. Where are you in that right now?
Sorry, my computer froze a sec. What'd you say?
Where are you in that right now?
Oh, so I'm doing global public health at NYU. So
nice.
Yeah, so I recently moved to Manhattan, so now I live in New York City, and I'm really loving that program. And yeah, my goals have changed a little bit from COVID, so just trying to find and set new goals and start a new adventure.
Definitely, that sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I hope you might enjoy the video. If you did like it, if you want to see more videos, please consider subscribing, comment down below, and I will put oh my goodness, information down below. So make sure you know how her awesome business and do all the things I'm sure you would appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. I really enjoyed talking to you.